Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you are having a good day and you are safe, and everybody you know is healthy, including yourself. I will forego the traditional introduction, and instead, I would like to get directly into the topic of this video. I was doing some research on just the coronavirus because I was watching a podcast and I came across somebody mentioning the tweet that reads Coronavirus got a 97% survival rate and the whole country panicking. Somebody responded to that saying, if I gave you 100 Skittles and told you 3 of them could kill you, I'm sure you would avoid the fucking Skittles. Now, that is exactly what the tweet says. That tweet was posted on March 13th of 2020. Both of those, so where they were within the same day, within 24 hours of each other. Now, if I go and so I was doing a little bit of just kind of looking around on the internet, just calculating probabilities to see just what the actual chance of it happening is, like how many different combinations there are. So if there's 100 and I take a sample size of 3, how many different combinations are there going to be with repetitions? There are 161,700 combinations. That includes repetitions. So I couldn't actually find a website that shows me exactly the combinations. Every single one that I had a limit of 50 or 200, or one of them, if they allowed more, they didn't have repetitions, so I only got 1 or 2. Now, let's assume, right? So I was looking at the size of a Skittle, right? Because let's assume in this case that he's talking about a handful of Skittles. Because I don't know, some people maybe like eating 1 or 2, but I think in this case, is that doing that, you're probably not going to get the 3 out of the 100 that are going to kill you. Now, I did some research here, and the average weight of a Skittle, this is average, 1.062 grams, plus or minus 0.29 grams. All right, and I was going to go into the volume of a hand and how much you can really hold, but then again, that wouldn't be accurate because with Skittles, you're not going to get the massive volume in your hand. Some of them are going to fall out. They're oddly shaped, so you're not going to fill out the entire volume of your palm or your entire hand when you're doing that. So instead, I opted to say, all right, let's take 10 Skittles. Please, also with any of these, correct me if I'm wrong. Some of them are from other studies or other research topics that I will hopefully link in the description of the video. The percent, if you took 100 out of 100 Skittles, you took a handful of 10, and 3 of those 100 had the possibility are guaranteed to kill you, you had a 27.35 chance of dying. So what that means is that you could take 3 handfuls, a little bit more than 3 really, you could probably take 3.5 handfuls. I calculated that out, and it came out to a little bit over 3.5, 3.6, and then some more decimals that really aren't going to matter in the grand scheme of things. So you can take roughly 3.5 more handfuls of Skittles. You can take 3.5 more handfuls of Skittles and generally be considered safe. Now, of course, there's a probability, so it's not finite. You can, from the first one you eat, you could technically die, but the chances of that happening are low. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention was how this is a terrible, terrible, terrible analogy for the coronavirus. It's really a bad analogy for anything that it's used for, unless it's a serving size of 100 things that 3 of them can kill you. In this tweet, the author shows no sign of forcing you to take them. The serving size, this is why I just use 10, because it's simple. It's out of 100. 10's easy to divide it into other probabilities. Now here, I'm sure many of you have seen this post, and it's a comment that pretty much reiterates some of the things I've said, but also talks about how with a virus, that's a lot. You have to compare it to the percentage of people then infected and then the people who have died. So you have the population as a whole, the number of people that are infected, and the number of people that have died from it, or potentially will die, so you can increase that bracket a little bit. But the number of infected and the number of the normal population is greater than the number of deaths at this point, which is why you can't really compare something that I'm assuming that tweet you would be forced to eat. So you can't really compare something that you have a couple of choices. You can quarantine yourself, self-quarantine. You can, stay hygienic, which is a little disappointing that not everybody already is hygienic. Or you can take other precautions that I may not have mentioned. So maybe something I forgot to say or something I just currently can't think of or am unaware of entirely. So when you have the chance of getting infected and the chance of dying from it, so the Skittles, right? The 3 Skittles that'll kill you are here. That little hole in between my hands, that's as big as the chance of the Skittles killing you, which is similar to the disease compared to the amount of infected in the general population. And you have infected over here, so I guess you could say this is the rest of the Skittles. And then you have the general population who just has a normal bag of Skittles. I don't know, see what I mean? That analogy, the Skittles analogy, is terrible. I can't even use it to repurpose it as another analogy. It's horrible. It's completely terrible. But the culmination of my research, which is basically me trying to prove my own point or try and maybe disprove myself, as I do when researching a topic, was I came across a tweet by Donald Trump Jr. when I was trying to find the original tweet. The tweet reads, "This image says it all. Let's end the politically correct agenda that doesn't put America first. Hashtag Trump 2016. As an image under it, that image reads, "If I had a bowl of Skittles and I told you just 3 would kill you, would you take a handful?" That's our Syrian refugee problem. Under that it says, "Trump, Pence, make America great again." So that tweet is from September 19th, 2016, meaning that user Mr. Dre, the respondent to the coronavirus original tweet, pretty much just stole that. Maybe it was unknowingly, but it was almost exactly the same, at least in terms of the analogy. It's an analogy using Skittles to represent something that can't even come close to accurately portraying in the analogy. People went nuts. There's several articles you can find in a quick Google search detailing how people are saying, "Oh no, these Skittles aren't Syrian refugees." They would have photos of Syrian refugees and say, not a Skittle," stuff like that. Just constantly flipping out over it. Yeah, this guy does it. It's not talking about people, so I suppose that makes it better. But people are also agreeing with it. Now, see, I from the first time I looked at it, I was like, that's not even close to the actual chances, and that doesn't accurately represent COVID-19. So I just kind of at that point said, screw it, that's kind of stupid. But I was reading through comments on the tweet today, and when I first saw it in between, and some people were agreeing with it. Others were trying to disprove it. Others were trying to back it. Now, all I can say is that I was honestly really surprised to find out that Donald Trump Jr. tweeted this really, really stupid analogy first. So, stay safe, everybody. Hopefully, you guys have a safe quarantine and a safe life, and you guys stay safe throughout the entire COVID-19 quarantine and pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Stay safe, everybody.